much. Let's welcome to the show the Vice President of the Fraternal Order of Police, Joe Gamaldi. Joe, what's your reaction? It's good to see you, by the way. Thanks for coming on.
Always great to be here.
What's your reaction to that report? Because New York City is beleaguered by a lot of crime. Should Texas be sending, or trying to make a statement by sending these buses to Delaware instead? That's the president's home state.
Well, I think it just speaks to what's really going on down at the border, where it's a complete disaster. We absolutely need to secure our border to stop the flow of illegal immigration coming across the border right now. And Texas is overwhelmed in a lot of our cities with people who come here who don't have good intentions and who commit crimes. So I think the governor is trying to mitigate that the best he can and spread that out to everybody. But I mean, if you read some of the authors in the New York Times, surely they should be opening up their own apartments and housing all of these folks, because they make such a big deal about making sure we have open borders, despite the fact the risks that come along with it, because we know it's not just people coming across the border, it's fentanyl, which is the leading cause of death for adults between the ages of 18 and 49 in this country.
But New York City Mayor Eric Adams wants to send New York City workers down to Texas to knock on doors to get rid of Governor Abbott.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've lived in Texas now for about 15 years, and I was a New Yorker before this. I'm pretty sure Texans aren't going to listen to New Yorkers telling them how they should vote. That's just the idea I got there.
Joe, to this story, this separate story, nearly 1,100 NYPD cops quitting before they're getting their full pensions. Joe, that's like a 71% jump versus last year. The NYPD is still hemorrhaging cops. What is the deal for a cop to quit before they get their full pension?
Well, you know, Liz, we are seeing this crisis across the country because officers are just fed up. In New York, they're up 71%. In Austin, retirements and resignations are up 100% in 2021. In LA, they're down about 630 officers. In Portland, their lowest staffing levels in 30 years, all the while they have their highest recorded murder rate in history. Wonder if those things are related. But basically, do you really blame these cops for leaving? They're tired of being treated like crap, cursed at, spit on, you know, having their family members threatened. We're being shot at historic rates. We've had 210 police officers shot already this year, and these departments are working them to the bone. Recently in Boston, they had them working 24-hour shifts with no breaks because that's safe. But you know what? You know what really bothers police officers the most and why they leave? Because that at any moment, even if they follow policy, training, and the law, they will be absolutely crucified and buried in public, have their lives ruined, all because some spineless politician wants to make an example of them, and we're all sick of it.
You know, to your point, too, we're looking at the quit rates, too. Nearly 2,500 cops are filing to leave the NYPD this year. That's like 42% up, too. I mean, the numbers are pretty staggering. But then you have this. You have the New York Times getting criticized. One of their writers suggested to readers that they should be optimistic about just a 4% drop in murders over the past year. Joe, the murder rate rose nearly 40%, 40% in the years prior. So why are they cheerleading a tiny drop?
You know, Liz, is there any group of people more out of touch with everyday Americans than the so-called journalists at the New York Times? I mean, this is Rich. He's trying to gaslight the public, saying we should celebrate for a 4% reduction while murders are up 40% over the last 2 years. Violent crime in New York is up over 40% this year. But you know what this really boils down to? Is these journalists sit comfy in comfy behind their desk. They're safe. They don't have anything to worry about. So they can expound and talk about how great these revolving door criminal justice policies are. And the New York Times widely supports them because they don't need to see the victims firsthand. They don't need to see the consequences of those revolving door policies. And, you know, predictably enough, he blamed COVID, even though the violent crime spike started before that, and also because no other industrialized nation saw the same increase in violent crime that we did. So, you know, I've got an idea for this guy. How about you slither out from behind your desk and come do a ride along with me, and you can see just how bad these victims have to suffer face to face, including our minority communities who have been impacted by these revolving door policies to the tune of 12 times the homicide rate for Black Americans to everyone else. It's ridiculous, and it has to stop.
Joe Gamaldi, thanks for your service to our country. Come back soon.